Hello, welcome back to the greenhouse. I'm Kate with Wallace's Garden Center. Today, I'm going to talk to you about direct sowing your garden seeds into the garden. So these are seeds that we can do early spring and really just try to take advantage of those warm days that start to hit us in March and April. I'm going to talk about some of the different things that you can use. Some of my favorite cold prep seeds to get growing in the garden are a lot of your leafy vegetables, so your lettuce, arugula, kale, spinach, and then also some other cold-tolerant seeds are going to include your peas and your broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage. So those are all different ones that you can start early on in the garden. So all of these seeds that we are talking about today, you can direct sow right into your garden as we get to the end of March, early April, about the same time that you're planting seed potatoes and onions. To do that, you'll just want to make sure your garden soil is good and prepped. Make sure you've added your compost either the previous fall or this spring, turned up your soil so it's in good working condition. And then you'll want to use a hoe or a trowel to create those furrows. And we're always going to refer back to our seed packets for information on planting. Pretty much any brand of seeds that you buy, the seed packet it comes in is going to have a wealth of information for you as far as when to plant, how deep to plant, how far to plant the seeds apart, things like that. Because we're not starting the seeds indoors, and if you want tips on that, we have another video that you can check out. Because we're doing this right into the garden, our spacing is a little bit more important. As they get growing in the garden, we will want to go back, and anything too close together will need to thin out. The back of your seed packet will tell you all of that information. Lucky for me, I can also do a lot of these in containers. I don't have a flat garden space in my backyard anymore, so I do a lot of my gardening in containers right now. So a lot of these early crop seedlings, you can do direct into a container or direct into your garden soils. Today, I chose a couple lettuces that I'm going to show you. Lettuce seeds are very small, but they're really easy to plant, and there's nothing quite like making a salad with fresh lettuce that you've grown yourself. It's also a great way to get kids to try eating salads and try some more green vegetables. Once they see it growing out in the garden or out on the deck, all of a sudden they're a little bit more interested in what's going on and giving it a try. So I've chosen two lettuces today. These are mixes. A lot of seed packets now, you can buy different greens mixed together to kind of create those mixed packs that you see at the grocery store. So this is a spicy salad mix. I like a lot of flavor in my salad, so I'm going to do the spicy mix today. Again, when you're opening the packet, try to preserve as much of it as you can without, ripping it in half, because we can save the seeds from year to year. Lettuce grows very quickly, which is nice. It tends to germinate in about a week. We'll get results fairly quickly. Since I am doing this in a container for myself and not directly into the garden, I've gone ahead and filled a container. For lettuce, I like to use a container with a lot of surface area. So a nice long window box or a shallow bowl that has a lot of surface area is great for growing lettuce. The soil that I'm using is not a seed starting mix, which is what a lot of people think you need to use. This is just a regular potting soil. It's actually the Wallace's container mix. Our container mix is the same soil that we use in the greenhouse here at Wallace's, and we grow all of our annuals in this container mix. It's a nice, really nice mix of perlite, vermiculite. It's got a lot of pine bark in it and some peat moss. So it's all ready to go. I've got it smoothed out. I filled my container to the top. My packet is telling me to plant these to a depth of 1/8 inch. So not very deep at all. So basically, I'm going to put the seeds across the top and then just kind of gently press them down into the soil. Same thing with the garden. When you're doing them outside, you're going to put the seeds into that kind of shallow furrow and very lightly cover them. This is what our lettuce seeds look like. Whenever you shake them out of the packet, I always recommend do it into your hand, not directly over the soil, because if you spill them, it can be hard to find them again in all that dark soil. Remember, we're doing a mix right now, so all these seeds will not look uniform. There's some different ones in there. So kind of interesting to see the variety in the different types of lettuce seeds. So here I am actually going to make kind of a little bit of a furrow of my own. And I'm going to try to grow my lettuce kind of in little rows, just like a mini garden, like I would have out in my yard. I'm going to grab some of those lettuce seeds, kind of grab them at random when you're doing a mix, because you want it to be kind of mixed up in your container as well. Lettuce grows very fast and we harvest it fairly quickly, so we don't have to worry quite as much about crowding it in a container as we would if we were growing zucchini or cucumbers or something like that. So I'm just going ahead and sprinkling a few seeds into the little furrows I made. And when I kind of cover that soil back up, they should be right about at that 1/8 inch depth. You don't have to use a measuring tape or a measuring device to make sure you get exactly 1/8 inch or 1/2 inch, whatever they recommend. You just want to get close. The seeds are pretty forgiving. They, as we like to say, nature finds a way, right? So that seed will get going. So there, I've got all my rows kind of planted and ready to go. So I'm going to put my extra seeds back into my packet. I always like to just kind of fold my packet back over so I know they're not going to spill out. You can use a paper clip, a binder clip, and that's going to keep it so you can use it later. I'm going to cover over my furrows, put a little layer of soil right over the top of those seeds. And we're going to water it in. In the garden, you can use a watering can or a hose with a water breaker on the end and get that soil nice and moist. Or maybe we'll have a nice April shower or early March rain to help water those in. When I'm doing them in a container with seedlings, I'm going to use a watering can with a gentle shower or a water spray bottle to get the whole top of that soil nice and moist. And then we're going to wait about a week and have little lettuce seedlings coming up. Harvesting lettuce, spinach, kale, it's real easy to know, usually between 4 and 8 inches of growth. And you can see they look just ready to be cut and put right into a salad. Some of your most common, what they call cold crop vegetables to direct sow in the garden are going to be in that brassica family, which is your broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and kale. These guys can be a little bit difficult to do in container and actually do much better in the garden. So you're going to want to, again, read the backs of the packets to tell you when you can go ahead and sow those outdoors, but they are very cold tolerant. When you are direct sowing into the garden, one thing that really matters is soil temperatures. If you don't have a soil thermometer, which a lot of us don't, you can buy one, or there are some great websites you can go to. Syngenta has a website called Greencast, or you can look up soil temperature by your zip code, and it will give you the current temperature, the average of the last 30 days, so you can see where your soil temperature is at. Many of the seed packets will tell you on the back what soil temperature minimum needs to be before you can direct sow into the ground. So we talked about some of the early crops that you can do, the lettuce, spinach, kale, the broccoli, the cauliflower, that tends to be great for the end of March, early April, as the soil warms up. But there are a lot of great flowers and vegetables that you can direct sow into the garden after our frost-free date, which is around May 15th. Flower-wise, I love to do sunflowers. They are really, really easy. They just kind of are no maintenance, no fuss, no muss. They're great for the birds, great for the pollinators, and they're nice big seeds, so this is a great one for the kids to help you with. Also, the seeds are really pretty. I'll open these up and show you. A lot of them have this great striping effect on them. All right, so as I pour out the sunflower seeds, look how pretty those seeds are. So just absolute beauties. Great for direct sowing into the garden. Great way to attract birds later in the fall. And just fun to watch their progress. Some of the sunflower seeds, like this mammoth, can get up 8 to 10 feet tall. So it's really fun to kind of measure throughout the season. Corn, of course, being in Iowa, we all love our sweet corn. So you can direct sow corn right into the ground. We see our farmers do it all spring long. Beans are another so easy. Beans and peas When you're looking at your beans, make sure you notice whether or not they are a bush bean or a pole bean. Some of your beans need something to climb on. Again, a nice big seed, easy to do in the ground. Just pay attention to your spacing and your planting depth on those. So beans right at that frost-free date, or even you can sheet a few days before on beans. And then a lot of flowers are going to be direct sow. These are sweet peas. Our most popular seed to direct sow is zinnias. We sell so many zinnia seeds. It's another one, like a sunflower that loves the sun. They really like a warm soil. So if we're having a cool spring, make sure that you really give those zinnias time. If you put them out too early in the garden and it's still real wet and cool, your zinnia seeds may not grow. Once it's warm and going to stay warm, put out your zinnia seeds in the garden and you'll have an awesome, really bright, low-maintenance pollinator plant for the whole season. So if you have mulch in your garden, we usually recommend that you kind of pull that away before you put your flowers. You want your seeds to be in contact with the soil, not the mulch. They have a harder time rooting, so you want to pull that mulch away and then let that plant come up before you put the mulch back. Another thing to remember is a lot of us like to use products like Preen in the garden to keep weeds from coming up. The way Preen works is it is a pre-emergent herbicide, meaning that it doesn't actually kill the weeds, it actually prevents the seeds of the weeds from germinating. Preen is not smart enough to tell the difference between the flower seeds that you just planted and the weed seeds that are already in your garden. If you are going to direct sow into the garden, make sure that those plants are up and growing before you put down Preen. Otherwise, the Preen is going to prevent your seeds that you spent all your time sowing from growing at all. So just keep that in mind as you are doing your maintenance in the spring. So once our seeds are planted in the ground, they're not in containers. So we're kind of counting on Mother Nature to help us out in the watering department. Typically in March and April, we are getting regular rain here in the Midwest as the seasons change. But your seedlings are going to need at least an inch of water per week once they start growing. Before they start growing, you want to make sure they are kept moist. So you'll want to go out and water at least once a week, sometimes more if we have real windy days, sunny days. You'll just want to make sure that that soil around your seedlings is moist. And then once they're growing, at least an inch of water per week, hopefully from Mother Nature through rain. Otherwise, you may have to drag the hose out and get going on your garden early. Thanks for watching our video today. My name is Kate Terrell with Wallace's Garden Center here in Bettendorf, Iowa. Come visit us in the greenhouse. We can answer your questions and we have everything you need for your home and garden.